Good morning, people. Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. Today is Thursday, March 24, 2022, and the time is about 1:53 a.m. in the morning. I hope you all are doing well. Yeah, remember the last video I did, the live stream? I had gotten laryngitis. Yeah, I've been staying in. And yes, good morning, viewer. Good morning. I hope you guys can hear me better. Yeah, I've been just resting and in bed all day, um, just relaxing. And yeah, I've whatever what I had seems to be breaking up. Yeah, um, had my I have on my onesie, my flannel onesie, and my a scarf around my neck. So some of you did see in some of my videos, recent videos, with that on. Yeah, something was bothering my throat and everything, and was sneezing a storm and everything. Whatever what it was, it's slowly um, dissipating, and I'm happy about that. Been drinking plenty and plenty of water with my uh, vitamins and all that. Hey, Nubian. Hey, yeah. Good to see you, Nubian. Yeah, I'm feeling better slowly. I'm glad that I'm able to talk a little bit. So, what do I want to talk about? Uh-oh. My voice is a little hoarse. Um, what do I want to talk about? Well, I'm watching tons and tons of videos. And, well, first things first, I heard about a tornado that hit Louisiana, and there was a casualty. So condolences to um, the family and friends of that person who passed away. Yeah, thank you, Nubian. Yeah, slowly feeling better. Um, yeah, so that tornado, yeah, it really hit some areas of Louisiana. How fortunate. Um, New York really hasn't, well, New York got hit by something once. It was some type of strong wind, and it did pull. Oh, okay, Nubian. Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't been on Messenger. What do you call it? Facebook. But thank you for letting me know. Yeah. Thank you. I'll check it out, Nubian. Yeah. So yeah. So some um, there's a lot of damage, and in Louisiana with the tornado, it hit. I was told on Tuesday evening. It's now Thursday morning. Oh wow, horrible. So I hope they have a quick recovery. It's something. New York City has never really got hit by something as devastating as that, like a tornado. Yeah, we live right off the water here in New York City. We do get flooding though. We had this one storm a couple of years back, and downtown Manhattan was flooded, um, and parts of Queens got flooded. But I don't know whether there's any casualties in the flooding. We had a strong wind once, and the face of this one walk up, apartment walk up, uh, the face of the building peeled off, and some areas in Brooklyn, you can see that some of the roofs had some structural damage, as if a hurricane, tornado, something hit it. But outside of that, we never had like a serious tornado. I visited Florida before, and you could see tornadoes at a distance. Yeah, yeah. So it's really something. Yeah, let me know if you can hear me. Okay. Yeah, let me know if you can hear the audio. So yeah, we're very fortunate to not have that. Imagine a tornado hitting New York City, like Manhattan. You have people who live in close proximity because you have uh, the sky. What do you call it? The skyscrapers, and many people living in those skyscrapers. If they were to fall over or things like that, I mean, it would really be devastating. So we're really fortunate in New York City to not have any tornadoes to hit it. Okay. Yes. So yes, I want to talk to you about yeah. I've been seeing a lot of videos on what they call expats to like Africa, and I'm attracted to those. And there was this one couple. Um, yeah, we have to be careful of the things we say and do on social media, such as YouTube, and that's including myself. Um, I was watching this YouTube, but the first time I ever seen them on YouTube. I'm not going to give the name or anything like that. Um, they 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 pose themselves as like a Hebrew Israelite type of thing, which is their choice. Um, but if the title of your channel is with the word God, Yah or Jah, and then you do something like they did. Now, they were expats to, now they seem like a very mature couple. I mean, emotionally mature. Okay. I think I watched two of their videos on their Tanzania experience. Tanzania is a country in in East Africa, and they had to come home back to the U.S. And they gave a very honest, what seemed like a very honest and thoughtful account on why they had to leave Tanzania and some of the things that happened to them. And I respected them. It seemed very genuine. And then they had like a part two, and that's the one I had problem with. I mean, they came across so mature. They were like they're a young couple, black couple. They could be like in their 30s, and yeah, they have children. I mean, they seem very mature in their conduct. Well, the second video was very problematic, and they're wearing all black, different than what they wore, what you see in their other videos or thumbnails. And they're in a bedroom. Yeah, they're sitting on the foot of their bed, and they're talking about, they're relocating. Like a an update on their being back in the States, and they said they're doing okay. They got a part-time job, and they're making money again. They have to regroup because they lost a lot of money in their trip to Tanzania. Um, they said that they may visit in the future, but they won't live there. Okay, which is very honest of them. I respected that. And then all of a sudden, they are like they had like a cap on their head, And I mean, they're indoors in a home, and then they start pulling down something over their face, and they get up and a gun. What they were doing, they were making a joke that, yeah, yeah, um, like they were like, like trying to say that, you know, if they don't do well here, back, whatever, that they just will rob at gunpoint. And I couldn't believe what they was. I said, what? I mean, they pulled down like they had like a cap, like a knitted hat on top of their head, and inside the cap was this thing they were pulling down like a stocking cap over their face. That's what they're doing. Then you hear a gun, like when they um, load the gun and get up and go towards the camp like they're gonna rob somebody. And then the scene changes. Oh, we're just kidding. Oh, we're just kidding. People, people, people. We perish for a lack of knowledge. We perish because of um, lack of wisdom. Now, I have a problem. Now, your religion and all that is your business. Your practice is your business. But if you're promoting that you are a spiritual minded person and that about the leadership of the home and that the men rules over women, but then you do a skit like that on YouTube, when it could have pulled down your channel for doing something like that, and you have children watching, and it's just, come on, dude. How foolish. How foolish. You heard me right. How fool. What put you, what convinced you doing something foolish like that? You're there to educate other black families who may want to be an expat to the country you just came back from. You informed us of a lot of things that the mistakes you made, which is very honorable. And then you're going to go on national YouTube and pretend that you're going to like be a robber. And you planned it because that's why you were wearing the outfits you were wearing, which made no sense to me. People are watching. And how could we take you seriously? And how, okay, and in your belief system that the man rules over the woman. Now, did your God tell you to do something foolish like that? I guess why I'm taking it so seriously, that type of behavior. See, I know someone, I know of a family. I'm not going to say where I used to live because I don't want, um, I don't want them to know, people who I'm referring to. But I used to live in this place. And a very nice family. But, and they're very religious family. But unfortunate, um, the children didn't take it too hard. They're raised in good homes, and then they had an opportunity to leave and live with a friend of the family in a faraway place. And what got them, I mean, I don't know what made them do what they did. But the person's son, um, he was fortunate to get a job in a bank. he told, it was time for him to leave for the day. And then moments after that, um, someone went and I think with a weapon to rob the bank. I kid you not. The person had on a mask and the person spoke. And the manager said that he recognized the voice of the person being the employee that just left. Well, he was initially arrested, this individual, but then released because they didn't have clear evidence that he was the person. But I'm going to say this, that I believe that person did do what they did. I know there's a mother's love. A mother's love, covers a lot. But what the truth is, what the possibility of the event, and it also shows that they had other family members who relatives of this family who did similar things, that they left this place, went to a faraway place to stay with friends of the family or something like that, or relatives. And shortly after they arriving on that place, they did something illegal and are doing prison time, heavy prison time. It's like when the men of this place go away, this criminality follows them. And it's like a pattern. And so when my seeing the video of this couple, this young couple in their, I think in their 30s, with children, to do that, it's reminding me of the foolishness of this other family that I know of. They came from a good family. They were a religious family, a different religion from them. This was a Christian family, mainstream Christianity, not the Hebrew Israelite thing. And it's like sometimes we can get so religious that we become foolish. Sometimes we think, oh, well, this is, men rule and this and that type of mentality. But being a man doesn't mean to do foolishness. Being a man doesn't mean being foolish. Another criticism I have with this family um, that that uh, that came from Africa. Oh, what's it now? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just losing thought. Oh, yeah, he didn't listen to his wife. He did not listen to his wife. Okay. Um, Part of the reason why this family had to leave this particular country in Africa, well, they were being swindled out of this lawyer. A friend of theirs uh, recommended this lawyer. Um, they wanted to extend their stay in that particular country. And so they said, hey, uh, let's get a local lawyer there, handle all the paperwork, just to make sure everything goes smoothly. And they were told that was to be free to extend it. Um, the lawyer asked the couple for their passports, and the wife communicated with the husband again, with these Hebrew Israelites. The man rules over the woman, right? The he-man. But the wife said it doesn't sit right with her. It didn't sit right. But he doesn't listen. This is how people can get kidnapped in Africa. when or in the Middle East, they say things like, let me hold your passport. Or I'll keep it in a safe place. Yeah, I bet they'll hold it in a safe place. And then they could extort you, people. They can extort money off of you. They could force you to give them money. We won't do X, Y, and Z unless you give us money or extra money. And that was the game plan. They saw that it wasn't just one person, but four people that they can extort money from. And they kept on making excuses and excuses. And in that country, they don't have people who really regulate what, like if you have a complaint about a lawyer, they don't have that infrastructure. They're not seeing you, Black America, as their own. Okay, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that really quick. Now, the general population in the country they were with were very nice to them. They were very good to them. They were very, very good to them. But the lawyer and what they call the bureaucracy in the government body were exploiting them as a means of fleecing them out of money. They didn't see you as, they didn't have the sensitivity that you're coming from America and our history of being enslaved or uh, harassed by the police, etc., etc. They just saw you as an American with money. Okay? They just saw you as money. So I share this to open your eyes up. Africa is not your people per se. It's a place where your ancestors came from. But it does not mean that the people are connected to you. A YouTuber taught me this expression recently. They said, skin folk doesn't mean kinfolk. Skin folk doesn't mean kinfolk. Meaning, just because they might look like you doesn't mean that they are about you, that they are of one accord, that they see you as the same people or a kinship with, okay? They just see you as money. And they took advantage of these poor people. Again, they seem like initially very nice, mature-minded people. Yes, they're from that Hebrew Israelite type of religious base. They use the term Jah, Yah, in their channel, and that the man is the head of the house. But any of you people who used to watch Star Trek, remember the original series Star Trek? You had Captain James T. Kirk. Well, what did Captain James T. Kirk have? Captain James T. Kirk had advisors. The captain has advisors. The captain had a physician when it was about medical issues. He had an engineer if it was an engineering issue. He had Spock. I'm not sure what his specialty was, but he was like the co-pilot, co-captain. And he had his wisdom, his expertise. So these religious, biblical-based, or sort of biblical-based organizations may sometimes be imbalanced. And they just talk about the man rule, but they fail to talk about that the husbands need wisdom and need a co pilot and need advisors. Your wife is your advisor. Let me repeat, your wife is your advisor. If you married her, she better have wisdom, right? She better have something going for her. That's why you married her. You did not marry a slave. Your wife is not your slave, master. Your slave. She's not your slave. She is your helpmate slash advisor. She is to watch your blind spot. She is to watch your blind spot. If your expertise, husband, is, let's say, in engineering, then you handle the engineering. But if her thing is, let's say, domestic stuff, domestic issues, then that is her specialty, and you should listen to her for that. Have an expertise and have advisors. Don't just say because you have a jingle bells that anything you say goes. You better have advisors and information before you make your decision. But to make your decision solely on the grounds of your gender and not in your abilities is harming. So his lack of wisdom and lack of doing his homework caused them hardship and economic hardship. Because the wife warned the husband, hey, this doesn't sound right, to give over our passports to this lawyer, and that the papers that the lawyer said, well, you can hold this particular paper and you can use it everywhere in Africa. And that was not so. You need your passport. What if it was an emergency? You have to grab your passport and get the hell out of that country. Right? Never, never, never give over your passport when you're overseas. Now, yes, let's say you have to renew your passport. Yes, there are times you have to, like I just renewed my passport. It came in a month ago. And I had to mail my passport to the passport people and paid the fee online, and then they mailed it back to me. Okay, but that is the passport people. Okay, it's not a foreign country. Don't ever give your passport over to anybody. You need to hold something in safekeeping. Put it in a safety deposit box. Make photocopies of it. And you register. This is something else. You have to register. Like whatever country you visit, you go to your embassy in that country that you visit, and register at that country, over at your embassy or consulate, so that anything happens to you, that consulate is aware of your existence there, and they should be able to help you out. Don't be like some of these foreign nationals, like what happened in Europe, and then these African students in particular use the race card to embarrass the country that they're in order to get their way. When it wasn't a race issue, it was a passport issue. They did not have the passport for them to cross the border. You needed a particular passport, and they weren't of that nationality, so they were stuck there, and they didn't register, and their countries didn't try to get them out, because their country didn't know about it. And then another country knew about, like India, knew about it, and India vouched for their own people in Europe. And that's how they got out first, or before those African students. See, the color card can only work for so far. It doesn't work all the time. And don't rely on that foolishness. Use wisdom, do your homework. No one is perfect. And yes, as this couple that came back to the U.S. mainland, they admitted that they made errors. And I commend them for their honesty with that. Okay? But foolishness when pretending that they're going to rob somebody and show this on national YouTube. It was so foolish. So foolish. Yeah, we have to really think, you know. Yeah, it's so important. Uh, the message would have really been profound about the passport issue when they were in Africa. Yeah. Um, See, they were recommended the lawyer. Their their friend recommended them. But sometimes what so-called friends do is that it's about money. They get excited. Oh yeah, we know so and so. Hey, I'll recommend them to you. It could be family or friends. Sometimes they get excited, the money possibility of making money, and they get, you know, stupid. When you have a poor country, poor people could do poor things, such as um, taking advantage of someone's trust, taking advantage that you've been in the Americas for several hundred years and you just want to repatriate to what you thought was your homeland. This is a serious issue, people, that really has to be addressed. Times here in America could be very trying for many of us, especially during this pandemic that's been going on for the past 2 years. And all the so-called race issues, and the riots that have been happening here in America. People are fed up, people are stressed, people are sick, and we just want relief. We just want relief. So we trusted them upon going to the what they call the motherland, but these weren't mothers. These were scoundrels. The motherland has scoundrels. The motherland has opportunists. The motherland could be corrupt. And that is a reality. Yes, it's BS. It's a lot of BS. Could you believe this? Could you believe you're hurting? You want to feel like you belong somewhere, Africa. Do you know? See, Africa could be stupid sometimes, like any other nation. I repeat, some African countries, some African individuals can be stupid. And why I say that? You have a country the size of America that has roughly 40 million black people. And even if that country in Africa gets 1% of the black population, that 1% of black America could send its money to that country in Africa, and you all benefit. But you're going to F up because of greed. Show integrity. Show integrity. Show integrity over the 40 million black folk here that can make you rich through integrity. Integrity. But now, that country made a bad name for, no, I should say, those individual lawyers gave them a bad name. See, it wasn't the country, it was the individual lawyer and some of the people in the government, but it was not the local people. It wasn't the general population of that land. Their neighbors were very, very good to them, they said. So my criticism is not with the regular people there, but the lawyer and the people that the lawyer worked for. Okay? I want to make that clear. But it's a shame. You have potential, Africa, to really benefit the people of the black diaspora in the Americas. I'm talking about specifically the Americas, not blacks that live in Europe, not blacks that live in Asia. I'm talking about blacks that were sent historically as slaves to the Americas. Because, see, we don't know specifically, most of us don't know specifically what tribe or location. Again, the DNA kits could only share with you what DNA you currently have ties to. It cannot give a name of a tribe. It could give locations that your current DNA status shares, and that's it. So, you have a whole continent of the Americas that could potentially leave the Americas and go back to Africa. You know, I start to question the continent of Africa, West Africa in particular, where most of us came from, the West Coast and the interior of Africa. Now, your children, so to speak, have been away for so long, and I wonder why you never ask for us back home. Why don't you ask for your children? Why aren't you asking how we're doing? Why is it that when you do speak out about the African diaspora in the Americas, why do you say, for example, Ghana in particular? So I heard specifically Ghana did this. Ghana said that that Americans can come back to Ghana if they want to, but in order to stay, you have to build a house. What kind of crap is that? What kind of crap is that? You want us, your children, who have been kidnapped, terrorized for several hundred years, we want to go back to our homeland or potential homeland, and then you're going to say you could only come back conditionally if you help build up our infrastructure. You had hundreds of years to build your infrastructure. You had hundreds of years to build up your infrastructure. And now you're looking for a handout for Black America to build you up? Shouldn't you already have your own infrastructure together? Shame on you. Shame on you. I met people from Ghana. They were very nice people. They were very, very nice people. But I'm talking about the government who have the power of who can enter their country. And to deny, to have that condition, it is fleecing us of our wealth as Black America. and you want to take our money. Because, see, when you rebuild homes, you get tax money, I would presume, and make money off of us. So here your children are bleeding, and you're more concerned about how we can make money off of these black Americans. Shame on you. Shame on you. And possibly this really exposes some of these potential places where black people came from, who are living in the Americas, of your conduct. That you're not about your people, you're about greed. You're about the moment. You don't think ahead, Africa. Some of you countries in Africa of the diaspora. You see the moment in time, and you're willing to sell your people for a bowl of soup. You're willing to sell your own people for a bowl of soup. And that's sad. Very, very sad. Don't you think it's sad, people? Africa today seems to be what yesterday was all about. Yesterday was about what I can do to get money off of these people. It had no love for its people that lived there. And so it makes me think that, hey, maybe you did the deal upon us and sold us. And that's why you never asked for us back home. Maybe that's why for these hundreds of years, let's see, slavery ended in the United States in around 1861, and then the war ended in 1865. So for over 150 years, the U.S. has held, that slavery ended. And you never once tried to get your children back. Why? Because maybe you really did sell us. And if that is the case, you have to give us reparations as well. You have to give us a reparations package. And that package should have an open door policy for those people in the Americas who want to go back home to those countries where the African came from, that were forcibly removed from that land to the Americas to be utilized as slave labor. I even met someone from Nigeria. And a lot of black folk came from Nigeria. And I met this guy. I had gone out with him before. This is some years ago. And he told me that his uncle or grandfather told him that black Americans didn't come to America as slaves. Could you believe that, people? Could you believe that Nigeria said that? Or I should say that that person's family who's from Nigeria told him that. Told him that black America did not come to America as slaves. Wow. Isn't that something? So it's a way of removing responsibility from the problem what we're going through. There's a removal. They're emotionally removed from the trouble of black America. And what's interesting about black America is that only about 8% of the slaves, of the people who became enslaved from the continent of Africa, only 8% of those kidnapped people were sent to the United States. And the bulk of the people who were kidnapped and enslaved, the bulk of us were sent to South America and the Caribbean. Did you hear me? The bulk of us were shipped to South America and the Caribbean, and not America. Not to the same extent, about 8%. Isn't that something? But yet, the whole drama about race relations is focused on North America and not South America and not the Caribbean. Why is that? Because, see, America doesn't want you to know that the bulk of us was sent to South America. You know what America calls them? America calls them Latin Americans. Those are Latin Americans. And they're not black people. These are Latin Americans. So they're altering their identity to make you think disconnected to where the bulk of us were deported to. The bulk of us were deported to South America and the Caribbean, and wants us to be disconnected from one another. And a lot of people in Latin America may be too poor to travel overseas to be repatriated to Africa. There is a documentary, though, on Brazil. Brazil ended slavery around 1888. It's one of the last nations in the Americas that ended slavery. And some of the people, because the trading of kidnapped people from Africa were still continuing to be sent to South America, and at the point of the end of slavery there. So they knew where they came from at the very end. Those people who were recent captives from Africa. And they went back home. And this documentary, they showed the people of some of the people of Brazil. Once slavery ended for them, they knew where they were from, and they went back home to Nigeria and set up a community there in Nigeria. I kid you not. They initially started doing very well, and then they kind of like floundered. But yeah, you did have some right in the very beginning, once slavery ended, who knew their nationality. They knew what nation they came out from. Because again, that, see, North America stopped the trading of slaves in its colonies, but Latin America continued in the trading of slaves. They kept on getting a fresh supply of slaves from Africa up to the very end, but North America had stopped. And so North America, what happened in North America, they stopped the trade of slaves. They kept slavery going, but not the importation of new slaves from the African continent. So what did they do in North America? They started a breeding program and started reselling us in other locations. And so we lost our identity. We no longer had connections with Africa because they stopped sending in fresh shipment of slaves. So we became what they call Americanized, or I should say Anglicanized. We became Anglicanized and Christianized. We lost our identity. We knew what we were in the sense of we knew that we were a people of color, but we didn't know where we came from anymore. But people in Latin America, many of them knew where they came from because they kept the families together. Okay, they kept families together, and they kept getting a new shipment of slaves from Africa. So you notice in Latin America, they have more cultural connections with the motherland, their language, some of their religious ceremonies are in African language. So they know what language grouping they came from. Their religion, the religious traditions that they have is linked with countries from the motherland. And so they know the area. Okay? The music, the drums. They know where the drums came from. They know how to play the same type of music. Don't you notice the music in Latin America, like Brazil, is very, very African? And you compare American black music, it's more of a hybrid. Don't you notice that? Or the Caribbean also. It's very African because they kept getting shipments of new slaves in many of these colonies in the Caribbean and in what they call Latin America. But North America didn't have that same luxury. No, I don't want to call it luxury. We didn't have the same advantage. And now that slavery's over, and now that, hey, we fought in all the wars in America because we were told that if we fought for America, we would be treated as equals. But that really didn't happen. It's not happening. And now, with all this drama that has been happening and the Civil Rights Act, what happened after the Civil Rights Act? Well, America opened its doors to immigration. And so now black America has to compete for jobs with all these newcomers. Who's getting into the colleges? The top colleges. Not black America. Not black America. Who's living on the streets in New York City? Black America. You don't see those new arrivals from these exotic places around the world. You see black men primarily living on the streets in New York City. And another issue that I have about this repatriation to Africa, that it was about that black people should invest in Africa. And so you have to be careful. It could be a scam to get your money. They may say that you have ability to invest in the country, but for you to buy land in Africa, you may have to have a special permit in order to buy property. You may have to be a citizen or a permanent resident status in that country. Where if you don't have permanent resident status, you may not be able to buy land, legally buy land. And so they may take your money away from you and you think you own land, but you don't own it because you're not a citizen there or you don't have a permanent residence. And they took your money though. You better be really careful, Black America or any black in the Americas. You better be careful. Find out what what the rules are. What are the rules in the country you're planning on going to in Africa? Again, Africa is not a country. Africa is a continent with, what was that, 50 plus countries. Right? It's big, big, big continent with many, many, many nationalities, many, many, many language groupings. You're only one individual, and you're coming there, and they don't have connections with you. They see their own pain, and they want the American dream for them in Africa. And, and so they think, oh, you got enough money. You owe us money. Or they'll talk to you. And because they talk to you, they'll say, you have to give us money. We just talked to you. Or we just told you what restaurant to eat at. We did that for you and we're going to charge you. That's what's happening, people. That is what's happening to some of the people that go there. They have no respect for some of you. And again, my other concern about with Africa repatriation is that again that it's the fleecing of your money to build it up. Why can't you build yourself up, America, Black America? Why do you have to take your hard-earned money that you made here? Some of you have to work 2, 3 jobs to get the money you have, to save up money to get a flight over to Africa. And then when you arrive there, people want you to give them money. Why should you give them a penny? Why should the child, so to speak, give them money? You are repatriating, being in exile in the Americas for 500 years. You are in exile in the Americas, or the Americas. You are in exile. How dare they expect a handout from you when you are in exile and abused for 500 years now? And they're asking you to build it up, to give them money to make them rich. But my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, people. My opinion is that if you go over there with your family, with your community, and you set up community within Africa. You have a right as an in exile, as being repatriated back onto the continent. You have a right to invest in yourself and the community you came from. You were the one that went through the traumas, and you don't have really a responsibility for those people already living there. You have a responsibility for yourself, to heal yourself, to heal yourself, to love yourself, to nurture yourself, and become strong and powerful, and to have a thriving community. We are not the banks for Black Africa. We American blacks, or blacks in the Americas, are not the personal banker for Africans. We have a right to spend our money within our community. And how dare they say you can only come into our country if you built a house? What if you want to get an apartment, rent an apartment? You may not, let's say you're an old person and you don't want the headache of buying a house. You want to get a rental. That is your right as someone who's being repatriated to the motherland. Why has not Africa addressed this issue of the potential repatriation of blacks in the Americas? Why haven't I heard anything extensive? Why is this? Why? Why, like, let's say if you're a Jewish person, yes, I'm going to go there. Why, if someone is a Jewish person and they want to go to Israel? Did you know Israel has a law that allows a Jew of any nationality on the planet to come to Israel? The right of return. Israel, modern day Israel, has the right of return to every Jewish person. Every Jewish person on this planet actually has dual citizenship. They can just go there and live because of the right of repatriation as a Jew to Israel. Why not Africa? Why does not Africa have the same right of return for its people who have been in exile, who were formerly enslaved for several hundred years? And all the drama and the pain that we suffered, why haven't they addressed the issue of repatriation, of open door of return to its diaspora? Why, people? Why? Start asking yourself that question. Am I making sense, people? Or am I talking to myself? Am I making sense? Or what? I'm saying this for food of, food of thought. Food for thought, I'm sorry. Food for thought. Why? Why? You have to ask yourself these questions. I love the idea of repatriating to what they call the motherland. I'm tired of here. I mean, I love my country, America. I am an American, and I'm a proud American, but I don't like where it's going. I don't like the corruption. I love my country. It is a beautiful country, but it's very corrupt. And when I got assaulted last November, and when that cop did not arrest that person who assaulted me, and the things that he said to me, that cop, it was a white police officer, I had a big concern. I didn't feel protected. I felt vulnerable as an American. And then, and other reasons make me feel that I want to leave because I'm not safe here. I'm not safe as a single woman here. I love my country. I served my country. I am a veteran and proud of it as a veteran. I am a proud veteran. I served proudly. I did not serve during wartime, though. I did not serve during wartime, but I served proudly. And so I want to stay here, but I'm practical. I think things are going to get rough all over the world. And I think in particular, I watched this program that did a remote view session with the next presidential election. And they said there's going to be some type of, okay, I don't want to say the word on YouTube and get uh, flagged, but something happened. Um, I'll use the term energetics. There were many energetics that happened at the U.S. Capitol, these energetics, and some type of takeover. Yeah, that is according to the remote viewers. Yeah, I watch Farsight. It's a channel on YouTube, and they also have a website, Farsight. Yeah, go check them out. And you come to your own conclusions to if you believe it or not, this particular remote view session about this thing happening at the next presidential election. If that happens, I don't want to be here when it happens. I don't want to be here. I mean, I'm a little nervous about it. So we have to, look ahead. Yeah, they're exploiting us. Some of these people might be exploiting our good nature. Some are exploiting our good nature. Yeah, be careful, people. Again, I'm going to repeat. Never give away your passport for them to hold on to it. You always keep your passport on your person or in a safety deposit box that's locked and protected. Because they would take your passport and they could sell you, Black America, they can sell you to the highest bidder. They can sell your passport, people. You know how many people wish they had a passport? An American one? They could do that, people. They could do that. Yes. Did you know that even amongst Africans that are coming to a place like New York or New Jersey, let me tell you what some of them are doing. I saw this on the news a couple of years ago. They're asking West African women who know how to braid hair, having them come over to the United States, like New York and New Jersey, set up shop, and it was an abandoned lady from Africa, said, we'll hold your passport for you. We don't want it to get lost. And they handed it to them, and then they abused them, uh, kept the passport, and said, if you don't make money, we're going to hurt you or something. It's some threat. I kid you not. It was on the news. Those people who cornrow here, braid hair, a lot of them are being forced labor / slavery. What does modern slavery look like? Modern slavery looks like, may I hold your passport? Oh, you can't leave the country now. Hello, people. Hello, people. Hello. Do you hear me, people? This is happening today with the hair braiding. It's a big market here in New York City and Jersey. You have a lot of lazy ass black folk who don't want to braid their own hair. I braid my own hair. I do just regular plaits, like a one, two braids or something like that. I've tried the box braid. It itches my scalp. My hair doesn't do well with all these manipulations to it. So whether it be a hair weave, I've tried a hair weave before, 30 plus years ago. I had it for 2 weeks. My scalp rejected it, and I had a bald spot. And then the hair braiding, my scalp doesn't do well with that either. It doesn't do well. God is telling me, so to speak, be natural. Just have your hair on your head. Don't have all these stuff on your head. You don't know where those products come from, how clean it is. So again, they're telling African women, say, hey, you want to make money in America braiding hair? Give me your passport. They gave it, and then they enslaved them. And this couple was a married couple who did this. And they were millionaires. I kid you not, people. Let me repeat. This African, black African couple, a husband and wife team, took the African from their own country's passport, enslaved them by forced labor. If you don't make money, you will never get your passport and you can't leave, and we'll tell you, what food you can eat. So they were starving them. They were starving them. One lady escaped. One lady escaped. And the couple was arrested. And that's when the lady gave a story over the news, what happened to her. And she was a pretty black lady. Pretty. Yeah. She was, her labor was exploited. And that will answer to me. See, yeah, I went to buy black in New York City. I went to Harlem to get my hair braided for my birthday. Yes, yes. I went to buy black in Harlem and went to an African, a black African, to get my hair done. And the attitude, when you get off, we have what's called a subway, the train system. And when I got off the train, going up the stairs, they like to congregate, these African women, congregate at the opening of the um, subway station, the stairs, and they'll say, hey, oh, you want your hair braided? You want your hair done? You want your hair done? And I did come there specifically to get my hair done. And one lady was a young woman, and she seemed nice, and she said, you want your hair done? I said, yes. So she walked me over to the building where she gets where she does the hair. And this other lady, she looked older and she was bigger, heavyset woman. She sees me, looks at the lady that did her honest work in getting a client. Okay, she did her honest work to find a client to make money to do hair. And the big lady said, "Oh, I know her. She came to me before. She's my client." And started arguing with her in French. And started arguing with her in French. I said to her, "I never saw you in my life. I never saw her before. I never got my hair done there. So how the hell could she think I did her hair?" See, that's where greed comes in. Because some of these women may have a quota to do. Hear that? Some of these African women may have a quota, and so they're desperate for your dollars. They are desperate for your dollars. They are desperate for your dollars, people. They're desperate. And they steal from each other. The jackals steal from each other. The jackals steal from each other. And they're making money. See, black folk, we send our money, we go to Harlem, some of us, to do business with black people. But you know what these people don't do? They're not a lawful business. They're not a lawful business. That means they're not paying taxes to that community in Harlem. So it's poor because it's not getting the taxes where the tax infrastructure will go to maintaining that city. Did you hear me? There's no money to upkeep that community because all the money is going directly into the pocket of these criminals. Yes, these are criminals who um, use slave labor to do the hair braiding faculties, doing the hair braiding, and they're pocketing the money, and they may be sending the money back home to Africa, where there be a rich person in Africa with the American dollar. Okay? Okay, so you understand what I'm getting at. So buying black in America oftentimes in these neighborhoods that they're not lawful businesses, and so they're not doing and upkeeping the community. They're greedy. So why should you go to Africa and build them up? Build yourself up lawfully, as I said, lawfully. Be lawful in your businesses. Be lawful. Pay your taxes. Be lawful. Have a legitimate business. Be lawful. Pay your taxes. If you're living in that land, be lawful. Be lawful. But I would say, upon hearing these different videos, you need community. Community of people of like-minded, your culture. Here in the Americas, let's say you're from Brazil. You want to repatriate to Africa. Come with a group of you of the same community from the country you come from to Africa. And the same for America. Let's say you're from New York, get a bunch of New Yorkers and set up a community for you. It's your right. It is your right, people. It is your right as not as an expat, as a repatriation to your homeland. They owe that to you. They owe that respect to you because you were kidnapped and then now you want to go back to your home. It is your fucking right to be able to go back home, and you shouldn't be charged a fee in order to go back home. Would you tell your child, let's say your child, okay, this is a recent incident that happened. This is a recent incident that happened. I forget the lady's name, but she was 10 years old at the time, and she's waiting for the school bus, and she gets kidnapped by a couple, a married couple. She gets raped at 10 years of age. She was 10 or 11. She gets raped. And she gets pregnant when she reached, I think, 13. Okay? She was in captivity in the United States. I forget what it was California. It could have been California where she was held captive. In California. In open daylight. Okay? Open daylight in California. And she got rescued. It was by chance she got rescued. Yeah. The freaky man had brought the child. Now again, she had 2 children with her rapist. And the girls, I think, were teenagers by this time. And as leverage, the guy said, I'm going to take one of our daughters to, because he wanted to proselytize at this college university. But the guy is crazy. And to make a long story short, the police officers, or the security team over at that college university did their homework, so to speak, and got the identity of the girls, and they got rescued. They found out who her true identity was, the mother of those girls that were product of rape. Okay, 11 years old is a rape. Okay, I forget the name of the lady, but she was on a talk show, like Dateline. It was a whole story about it. Her being kidnapped at age 10 or 11 and captive for about 20 years. Okay, what's the point of my bringing that out? I'm sorry. I forget my point of bringing this out. There was a reason why I made up that story. Um, oh, brother, what was it now? Oh, okay, the point is, okay, so that instant with this 10, 11-year-old that was kidnapped and raped and had kids out of that byproduct of that union, um, now, when she was freed from them, they found out who the mother was, contacted the mother, and the mother brought her home. Did the mother ask the daughter, oh, well, you got to get a job right away, or you got to do this? No. The mother took and embraced her daughter. The mother has been grieving for 20 fucking years. Excuse my English. But for 20 some odd years, grieving for the loss of her daughter. And finally she came home. Finally she came home, and the mother took care of her grown daughter. And yes, she did win a lawsuit, a big time one, of course. The daughter's getting therapy and things to um, help her thrive. Yeah, she was a powerful individual, the daughter. How she um, is mentally getting stronger and stronger, and has forgiveness in her heart to not let it bury her. Okay? So the point is that here you have modern day slavery happening in the United States of America, and the mother brought home the daughter to live as family and catching up on what has been happening for the past 20 years in that household. Should not Africa do the same for you? There was no stipulation on the girl coming back home. So why should you have to have a stipulation to be able to come home to your family in Africa? Why? And why do you put up with it? Why? So with that, my next topic, in linking this all in, what was that now? Did you? Yeah, they should. So what about with the talk now that I've been seeing on the internet is you have Britain, you have Prince William and Kate. They want to come to the Americas, to their territories. See, I never understood before. I saw, growing up in America, I would see the royal family of Britain go visit these places. So I thought they would just be nice people. No, they're not being nice people. Let me tell you what the deal is. Um, Britain has, I think, over, I could be wrong about the number, but I think it's 50 plus nations that are former colonies of Britain. I think over 50 something nations that they were former colonies. And not only are they former colonies, but they are territories or, no, excuse me, commonwealth. They are commonwealths of Britain, which means that the Queen of England is the head of that country, or I should say commonwealth. The Queen is head of them. That means they are owned pretty much by their former colonial powers. Therefore, they don't have the true freedom. Okay? They still have to give them money. So all of a sudden, I'm seeing videos that are discussing that Prince William and his wife want to visit Belize, Jamaica, Barbados, and they don't. And they wanted that. Okay, the countries had told them. At least some of the countries said that we will not pay for your visit here. They said, I repeat, that they will not pay for their visit. Prince William and Kate. Remember, Prince William is the future king. Prince William is the future king of Britain. And with the stress of this pandemic, a lot of people losing work, a lot of people in poverty, and the lockdowns and all that, and the race card and the things that have been happening in Europe, and the students, African students, claiming that they were being prevented to enter a particular country to escape war in that part of the world, they couldn't leave because of allegedly because of their race. So I think that may have attributed in part with some of the nations to not pay for Europeans stay in a former colony. And I just found out that 3 months ago that Barbados no longer uh, no longer has Queen Elizabeth as their head of state. Barbados is an island country in the Caribbean that was a Commonwealth of Britain, and they decided to become a republic, and therefore no longer require Queen Elizabeth to be the head of state. So they are independent. They started that 3 months ago, or it happened 3 months ago. And you know what else? They had Prince Charles there to help the Barbadians to celebrate their independence of Queen Elizabeth as the head of state, and for them being a republic now. And they have Rihanna the singer. Rihanna the singer is now being honored in that nation. Did you hear that, people? Go take a look at the video. Go take a look. It's on YouTube. That Barbados is now honoring Rihanna as its national treasure. They're now calling Rihanna, the famous singer for Barbados, as a national treasure. As a national treasure. Wow. And so then I heard that Jamaica is thinking about doing the same as it pertains to become a republic and no longer have Queen Elizabeth as their head of state. They do not want to pay for the visit as a former colonial power. See, people are waking up. People are waking up. People are tired in the Caribbean. The Caribbean is poor. It's struggling. Of course, you got people with money there. But the bulk of the people, they're now asking for an apology for the harm that Britain's role that played in the story of the transatlantic slave trade upon the people there. They want an apology that the royal family had as it pertains to the slave trade and slavery in its Commonwealth nations. They're fed up. And not only are they asking for an apology, but reparations. Hello, people. Now you're talking. Now you're thinking. Now you're thinking for the first time. Not only should they apologize for reparations, and yes, to become that republic and get your reparations. Reparations does not mean to be able to get a white spouse, some ugly white spouse to brag about as a reparations package. Your reparations is about money and land and to build infrastructure, not about marrying some ugly person from from Europe. It's about independence. It's about learning to uh, develop yourself as a nation, having designed your new identity as an independent republic. It's about embracing yourself. I think it could be a very positive move, people, that the Caribbean islands and other nations in the Americas that are Commonwealth, like Canada also. Do you know Canada also is a Commonwealth of Britain? Canada is a Commonwealth of Britain. Well, it can backfire what's happening in Britain because of the president that you have there. A lot of corruption. And the people could revolt and say enough is enough. We no longer want to be associated with the Queen of England and become a republic or something like that. And they have a right also to its reparations, the indigenous population there. And they also have a black population there too that should get the reparations package. Yet this is a reality. There's also colonies, not colonies, territories like India, Pakistan, all these countries all over the world. They could then now say, we want to break it free, and you have to give us reparations from the ills that you did to us generationally. And this could break the bank of the royal family. This, by Commonwealth nations to do that, to pull away from Britain, could they'll free them. And it could bankrupt the royal family because there's a time to pay. There's a pay up. They have to pay up. And you have these, what do you call liberals, these social justice warriors who would benefit from the fall of the royal house of Europe because they're hoarding all the money and power. And the social justice warriors could benefit from that so they can get a stronghold over Europe and other principalities and powers and rulers. It It can happen. Yeah, people are waking up. People are fed up to see um, extreme wealth coming over to them, to people who are hungry, who have to struggle with many jobs to just put food on the table. And then you get a wealthy, tax fed couple, William and Kate, taking the resources from its own people in Britain, the taxes that they receive, so they can dress well, eat well, travel well, and then have its subjects pay for everything when they go overseas. People are fed up now, and they're saying enough is enough. They don't want that anymore. They don't want them, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. So what about America now? We're just American playing all this. Yet things are happening in Europe, all right? But what about, okay, all these years of racial turmoil here, okay? Donald, the former president, number 45, had with this program that was to be implemented upon him getting the second, elected a second time, called the Platinum Plan, that was specifically designed for Black America. Not minority America, but for Black America, called the Platinum Plan. And so you have to, well, again, many of you may not have voted for him, and you had many blacks that helped the current administration steal the election, and we saw that the ballots were being restuffed over and over again. You see the videos that clearly show that you had individuals who were helping steal the election. So either way, that with the current administration, because he wanted it so bad, and that he claims that he's not a racist, and the same as Kamala, who claims to be all for the people, when she did that campaign and outed Biden as a bigot because he favored segregation and kept banned the segregation busing system. He voted against it. He voted against busing. And Kamala outed him on that. So if those two really do love Black people and are happy that Black people believe the lie against the former president, well, don't you owe us anything? Don't you owe Black America this reparation package? Don't you owe us anything? You're in the seat of power. What responsibility do you have for us? Because as you saw on camera, many were lying and fudging documents in order to get you in power. So, how come it's over a year now, it's been in office, and how come you do not hear anything about the reparations? You don't hear anything about reparations. but yet he's supposed to be for the people. Why has he not discussed this? This is something you should ask about. This is something that you should seriously ask. Why haven't you gotten reparations? And I think it's something that should be asked for because see what they're trying to do is, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, with what I see over the internet, is that they are purposely leaving the doors open for migration of poor people who are going to move into your community because your taxes are heavily used for other people's community, and the money you make for your own community isn't used in your community. Your community is now like an open gate for anybody to come in, open up shop, get the jobs, occupy a seated school, and there's a consequence when that happens. That when there's no seats left in the school, there's no learning, and you're forced to go into another area for schooling. You have a right to an education and a fair education. You have a right to live with people who pay taxes to support your system. You are not the bank of these foreign nationals who leech off of you. Just look, people, at the stories of these expats who lawfully go into people's countries and how difficult it is to get legal resident status in a country. It takes time and money. It takes time and money to get legal residence in a domain. When they're coming over, have children, and then their children have 100% protection under the law and have free access to education and medical care, and who's paying for it? But you, poor Black America, who open up your arms to everybody but yourself. You open arms to every riffraff that comes to your community who do not pay taxes, who are a drain to your system via public assistance and welfare. But to your own, you kill each other on what we call black on black crime. You kill yourself through black on black crime, but yet you have open arms with foreign nationals who live in your community who push you out of the job market. They are pushing you out of the job market, and once they do get established, they do not hire you for their jobs. I will repeat. They do not hire you. They do not hire you with their jobs. And they take jobs from your community. So they take your jobs, and once they are able to get a little job, open up a business, they do not hire you. They do not hire you because they don't feel any sense of responsibility for you because you are the dirty American, you're the dirty Black American, and you deserve poverty, and you are nothing more than a glamorized slave there to cater to their needs. Stop the foolishness and stop being the bank of these foreign nationals who are taking away the political power from you and the economic power from you. Stop it and start being and living as a community of people wherever you live, wherever where you reside. Reside as a community, whether big or small, and protect each other. And protect each other. Because when you go overseas, they're going to exploit you. They have no sense of connection to you. You are there to make them rich, just like you are here in America to make other people rich. And they will only use you for the race card in order to get a bill passed. They only use you for the race card in order to get a bill passed. Therefore, dividing up again the resources, even smaller from your portion, to be given to others. And you don't seem to get this. You don't get this. This is what's happening. This is what's happening, people. Am I speaking the truth? I know I'm not just talking to myself. I'm not just being insensitive. I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm being practical. I am being practical. You are being fleeced. You are being fleeced. And again, the taxes. Once you go overseas, you have to pay the taxes. Again, depending upon which country. Some countries, they only have you pay taxes in one country, not two countries. But in some places, you're there, whatever money you make in that country, it is taxed. And you still have to pay tax in the U.S. Double taxation. It's going to cost you, people. It's going to cost you. See, that's one thing that many of the videos aren't talking about. The taxes you got to pay when you go expat, you have to pay the taxes of the country that you live in. You have to pay the taxes of the country that you live in. And pay the taxes here in the States. There was something else that was made mention with one of the expats. There's that same husband and wife couple that pretended to be bandits in the video after they gave and they shared valuable information, then it did something stupid. That same couple. They shared something else. Oh God, what was that now? Oh brother, what was that thing? Oh, I hope it comes to me. It was something that happened to them. Oh, something with the infrastructure. Oh brother, I can't remember now. Yeah, let me look at some of your comments. Yeah, I was focused on some of the things. Wow, okay, yeah, I missed a lot of the messages here. Yeah, I got really focused on what I was saying. Okay. 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 Let me just see. I'm just. Yeah, let's see. Oops. Sorry. Let's see. And I'm just scrolling through some of the messages. Oh. Okay. 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 Keep it safer than. Okay. Okay. Then let me read this one thing. Nubian says. Nubian says, I found when men don't listen to their wives, They always end up in a bad situation every time. Yes. Yeah. Hopefully that you marry an intelligent woman. Yeah. If you want to play the Hebrew Israelite thing, okay, nothing wrong with that. But no, you better make sure you get an intelligent wife because you need a co-pilot. You need a co-pilot. Yes. Okay. Okay, I'm just still scrolling through it. Yeah, yeah. Nubian also says a lot of them think just because you are from the USA, they believe you are rich. Yeah, in American standard, you are rich compared to them because of the resources that you have. In this one country, I think the average yearly salary is about $1,700. $1,700 American dollars. $1,700 American dollars. Okay, that is you could make that in a couple of months. Yeah, yeah. I noticed that in Hawaii. Now Hawaii is the United States. Hawaii is a state, not a territory, a commonwealth, but the United States. Yeah, there was something I know. Now I'm getting a little all over the place, but yeah. See, this goes deep, people. Oh, let me sit up. Yeah, this goes deep. Yeah. See, yes, the U.S. is acquiring people from other nations, and that's happening in the state of Hawaii. I used to work for a company, part of the Head Start program. I did data entry there, and one of the ladies there, who was hired because she spoke Spanish, she was from Puerto Rican ancestry, and in Hawaii, you have a large Mexican population, and this is not a poo poo against Mexicans. I'm just letting you know what the facts were at that time. This is 20 plus years ago, this incident, when I worked there. Um, she was used as like an interpreter because she spoke English and Spanish. And she said that she was forced to, process their paperwork even though they were illegal, and that the bulk of the Spanish speaking clients were illegal, and they're sucking the resources from the state of Hawaii. And they were not being deported because it's some type of system that's going on to allow, part of the system is you get those people in or other illegals from any nation to do the cheap labor. It's all about cheap labor. It's all about cheap labor, and that directly affected me in one of the jobs that I had there in Hawaii. I came there to do. I was in the cooking field when I entered there. I graduated from school, a cooking school, and I I had experience in the U.S. mainland, and I then moved to Hawaii where I thought I have a better opportunities because work wasn't happening in New York City at that time, and I was forced to leave New York City to find work. And at one of the jobs, it was a restaurant, and I was hired by a local woman of Japanese heritage, but she was an American woman of Japanese heritage. and we had these helpers who were who were Mexican, and I saw how they looked at her. They did not like the woman uh, for whatever reason. It could have been because she was a female and that she was over them. She was the head chef. It was a modest size uh, restaurant, okay? Um, and she was head over them. And I guess in Mexico, they don't like women being over them. Or maybe they just didn't like her because they didn't like her. Whatever what the problem was, I saw the reaction towards her behind her back. I said nothing because, again, I was just hired by this woman. And I didn't know what was going, what's really going on. And um, I lasted there just a couple of, I forget exactly how long, but it didn't last long. And I needed that job because I was in debt, and I had another job. I had it was to be a part-time job, and I had my full-time job, but I needed an extra job, so I got this second job there, and I was very appreciative. I loved the job, and well, the company had a plan. It wanted to downsize to save money. And so it fired the lady that hired me, and then shortly after, fired me. And I'm just a part timer, but it kept the Mexican guys who were laughing at the American of Japanese ancestry. I was angry, angry, angry. I'm just letting you people know what's going on, but you do your homework. You live in your comfort zone, whatever what it is. You decide what is comfortable and lawful for you. I'm just sharing you my experience, what happened to me, to help you open up of the seriousness and stop thinking in terms of minority and versus community. It's about community. It's not about color. It's about who's of your community, and you serve it and you protect it. Okay, so um, now they did that to me, and they were sneaky about it. So here, these people, I don't know whether what their legal status was, but it happened, and they permitted them to stay at the job, and me and the other American were thrown out. Okay, so I needed a job because I'm a hard worker, and I was actually when I had that second job, I was planning on trying to get a third job to be responsible and pay my bills. Okay, that's who I represent. Paying my bills, paying my way. Well, that was taken from me, and the other job was taken from me from racism in part. Okay, um, you have people there in Hawaii. Hawaii, I'm going to say this, people, and I know you're not going to like it because they're minorities. I lived in the state of Hawaii for close to 3 years. I worked there. Um, went to school there. I mean, I'm sorry, I meant to say went to church there. I was a full participant in the cultural scene of that state. Well, what happened now? Um, I went in there, this company, and which one I give first? No, I'm going to give the one. Yeah, I'm going to give the one that's really important because um, it's proof. Now, again, as I told you guys, I started out in the cooking field with my credentials and work experience in the art of pastry, baking. I had lost the job, and I needed something to do. I needed to find a job. But at one point, I found out about what they have, what they call, what do you call it, union jobs, where you take an exam, and when a position is open, when a position is open, and you pass the exam, and if you're the next slotted, you'll get the job. I took a civil service exam, something like the term uh, school bakery, school bakery, something like that. Because the booklet that I studied, because I went to the New York, I'm sorry, I went to the library in Hawaii. I almost said the New York Public Library. See, I'm thinking New York because I'm in New York now. But I meant to say, I went to the library in Hawaii where I lived at the time, and because they had a computer to about jobs, and I remember seeing that they had civil service exams, and I saw they had one for my field. I I got the book and I studied it. Not a lot, to be honest, okay, but I studied from that book. I took the exam, and also I am a veteran, and it's also a veteran status too, I believe. Well, at least I am a veteran, okay? And I passed the exam, and I got a notice that I passed, and that there were 5 jobs available on the island. So I chose the location near where I currently lived at that time, and I made an appointment to see the person. And again, this is union job, okay, a union position that I passed the test for, okay. But you have to go through a formality. And when I came in, I saw a woman and a man. They were sitting down. The lady was a woman of color. In Hawaii, everybody's mixed there. I mean, many mixed race people. You have Hawaiian, you have the primary groups in Hawaii are Native Hawaiian, Filipino, Chinese, and Japanese, and Samoan. Those are the major groups. And they're all intermarrying. They all got, everybody's mixed. Okay? And so I really don't know what she classified herself as, but she's darker skinned than me, and sitting with her is a white American man. And I remember how she looked at me like a piece of shit, and I, you know, um, kept her, just ignored it, and I sat down, and they both looked at me like I was from planet Mars, okay? And they said, you have to take another exam, real nasty like. Now, I didn't know how to take a second exam. I already took a statewide exam. I took a statewide civil service exam and passed it. But they said, you have to take another exam right in front of us. And so I forget which one handed me the paper, but they handed to me, and it was to be done by pencil. And then the white dude comes over, like some pencils come in like a little container, like a jar. He takes the container and drops it over my head. Let me repeat. That white man took a can of pencils and dropped it over my head. The pencils fell to the ground, and he says, "Oh, excuse me." He bends down to look under my dress. pretends to get the pencils to look under my what's under my dress and picks up the pencils. Fucking asshole. Okay? I'm very serious, people. I'm very, very serious. People, I'm letting you know what happens in America today to American black citizens. You fucking stupid, some of you, black Americans, to think that everybody who's so called minority status is your friend. Most of them are not your fucking friend. Excuse my language. I get like this when I'm trying to stress the seriousness of you to open your eyes. Be whoever's friend you want to be a friend to. I'm being honest about the matters that happen in this country. Okay? So, I did the exam in front of them. I was nervous as hell. And I passed the test with flying colors. And I forget what the interview was about. I forget if they even talked to me. But I remember the last thing I heard was, we'll get back to you. And then I get a call. And I got that lady. And she's, guess what she said. This is what she said to me. Oh, wait, let me get this my clock. The alarm is going to go off soon. I'm sorry. But this is what she said. She told me over the phone that I was not hired, and that they decided to hire someone else, and that anyway, I am overqualified, and then hung up on me. Let me repeat, people. I don't think you heard me because I don't see you responding to buffoonery, to what happened to me, an American citizen, being mistreated by this state of Hawaii. And she called me, or I called her, and she said, we hired somebody else we hired somebody else who was more qualified than you, and anyway, you are overqualified, and hangs up the phone on me. Now, people, did she not just contradict herself? Why would she hire someone who's allegedly more qualified than me, and then say at the end, before hanging up on me, that I was overqualified for the position? You cannot be overqualified for a position and then say that they hired a person who was more qualified than me. Hello? Hello, people. Hello, people. Now, what I didn't tell you about this civil service exam was that, see, I was the only one in the state of Hawaii who I found out I was the only one in the state of Hawaii who passed the civil service exam. Let me repeat, people. I am the only one in the state of Hawaii at that time, that year, that passed the civil service exam that was for the school bakery, or something like that, school bakery. At least the job was to be a cook for that school, for the school system. And that they had 5 openings. I am a black American woman, educated in the field of baking, have college credits and passing a, a civil service exam and then denied that job that I applied for. Okay, I am the only one in the state of Hawaii, your your native daughter from New York City, your black native daughter, native born daughter in New York City, from New York City, who passed the civil service exam, the civil service exam for the school bakery or something like that. The only one. How I found out I was the only one that passed the exam was when that door closed at that school near me, I applied for another school. Yeah, the first school was for an elementary school. So I then went to apply for this high school that was in town. And he was a white guy from the mainland, and he needed help ASAP. Because they had a list of all the schools, because I was given the list of the schools because I'm the one that passed the exam. So they had to tell me that I passed the exam and who was hiring. Okay? So I contacted that high school, and he needed someone right away. And he's at the conversation, he says, "Well, you're the only name on the list." And I said, "Well, what do you mean I'm the only one that passed?" He said, "Well, I have the list in front of me, and I need to hire somebody, and you're the only one on the list that I can contact, and I need help immediately. But you're the only name on the list. I need to hire." He said that he'll work it out to try to hire me. And then um, I'm not sure who called who first, but when we spoke the next time, he started changing his story. He got real nervous because, oh, at some point, he had to contact that oh, yeah, wait, I might be skipping something. I'm not sure of this timing, which conversation came first, but I did talk to the high school, and he said he wanted to hire me and that I was the only name on the list. Well, I at some point contacted the director of the school districts, who has the power to hire, who generates the list. I spoke specifically to that woman. I never met her over the phone, but I talked to her over the phone specifically, and the plug-in, because the batteries, I'm not finished with my story, and the batteries are going to go out soon. It just pumped in a message. Let me get the, oh, I know you can have to get the, brother, let me see if I can get a list. I have to find the, oh, okay, I got it. I got it. I had to find. Okay, I have to plug it in. Okay, I hope it's, okay, I just plugged it in. Let me sit down. Oops. The plug just came out. Let me put it back in. Sorry about this. Yeah, I'm almost finished my story. See, I share this for your protection. See, people will tell you what you want to hear, but I want to tell you my experiences. So you don't have to, so you'll be that much ahead if you plan to go to Hawaii. Okay, let me get here. Okay. Oh, I just stand. Sorry. Oops. Let me. Oh, Sorry. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So I have to stand here. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, my battery just said that I have 10% left on my phone. I mean, on my iPad. So I had to contact the director. She's the one that generates the list of the people who pass the civil service exam for that job title. And I told her that I'm interested in applying for the high school. And she said I couldn't get that job. I said, why? She says, well, she makes an excuse. And I said, well, I'm the only one that passed the exam. She said, well, how do you know that? She said, well, I made the mistake to say that, well, the high school told me I'm the only one on the list. That's why he needs he needs help, and he needs to get someone working for him right away. And I'm the only one on the list, and I guess he's afraid that I might accept a job at another location. That I say in hindsight. I didn't say that to the lady about him concerned that maybe I might choose another job. I just knew I wanted a job. He said he wanted to hire me, and I said yes, I would like to get a job there. But she said, well, how do you know that? And I said that he read the name on the list, and only my name was on the list. She said, well, that can't be true because I put my girlfriend's name on the list. Well, people, anyone, any criminal could put someone's name on a list. Doesn't mean that they pass the exam. It does not mean that they pass the exam. It does not mean that they pass the exam. And let's say it is true that she put or authorized her girlfriend or whatever, boyfriend, whatever, friend on the list. I have access to 5 jobs that are available on that island. And that the first lady denied me. And I asked the director, I said, excuse me, Miss So and so, what did so and so mean when she said that I was overqualified for the job, but she hired someone who's more qualified than me? I don't understand that. And it embarrassed her. And I told her about the pencils being dropped over my head. I think I told her that. And that I wanted to apply for the other jobs that were available because there are 5 jobs available. Well, she said, well, this is the scoop. She said, well, we can't hire you right now because, the holidays are coming up, and we don't know how many children we need to feed. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, people? Yeah, I have to talk a little softer because I have my neighbors. She said, we don't know how many students that she has to feed in the school system or in that location. But when she gets to know the number of how many students she has to feed, then she'll contact me. I waited a month and asked about my status. Oh, we still don't know how many children we need to feed. Did you know that every day, every child is accounted for in the school system? They have to know every day how many meals that they have to make every day. So what the hell does she mean by we don't know how many students we have to feed when you're feeding them every day when that school is open? Okay, people? These are the lies that state of Hawaii does against Black Americans. I repeat, this is what happened to me when I lived in Hawaii. I am a veteran and I am American, And I was denied the possibilities of to choose from 5 jobs there. You cannot hire outside of a civil service exam. You don't pass the exam, you don't get in. Why was I denied? Why was I denied? Well, the theme in Hawaii, the Aloha State, that's right. It's called the Aloha State. Aloha means hello, greetings, blessings, okay? Hawaii was one of the most racist regions that I've ever worked in. They were very blatant, their racism towards black people specifically. I'm saying it. See, a lot of you hanging up because you don't like what I'm saying. You don't like what I'm saying. See, I'm telling you so that you can protect yourself in case you want to leave and move there. How they are with black people. How they're there with black people who are smart, who have their credentials. See, they want their own to be it. See, I hear that, people? Their own. And their own doesn't include you, even though they might be darker than you. These are people of various ancestries. They can be light or dark, and white also, or oftentimes could be racist. Blatant racism. That was racism, what happened to me. Biasness. You are an American. You apply for a civil service exam. You pass it, and then they exclude you. I remember my father growing up. He was a very dark-skinned black man. And he said that his mother told him, you have to be the best. You have to be the best. She didn't say race. She said, you have to be the best to get ahead. Well, I was the best. I was the best that was available, that qualified, and I still got excluded. Hawaii is very clingy. Hold on a moment. Lavin, come. Just a moment. My little boy is barking. What's wrong? Get here. Where are you, Lavin? What's wrong? Come in. You okay? That's my little boy. I don't know what happened. Okay. You have to close the door. Sorry about that. Yeah, I had to get my little boy, my little Lavin, my little doggy. He never done that before. Okay, I had to unplug it. Let me plug it back in. Let me plug it back in. See, See, I'm giving you important information. Okay, I plugged it back in. See, I'm giving you important information so you know how it operates. See, you're all on the so-called minority love affair. You're on the minority honeymoon. See, people seem to like black people if you can fit in an agenda or if they can use you. See, they used Obama also. Obama was born in Hawaii, but he was never really connected. I mean, he lived in, because who his mother was. He was part of a different community and an affluent community, or I should say influential community of Hawaii. And so they claim him as his own because They want the glory that someone from their island is running for president. And that's it. That is it. They're not into black people. They don't want black people to work there. And they have a name for black people too there. One of the jobs there, I was being harassed by one of the, I'm not sure if he was born there, but he was harassing me about my race. He said, hey, you know what they call people like you? Why do I need to hear that? And other stuff. And it was just so stressful. And I got fired. Yeah, I got let go. The pressure was so unbearable. Unbearable. Again, I'm a female and I'm black. And in the cooking field, it's a lot of men that work in there. In restaurants, things like that. It's mostly men who work in those cooking fields. And so that restaurant that I was telling you about, it's mostly men that work in there. But in school system, because you're taking an exam, it could be male or female. Okay, because you have to take an exam. But I'm saying, see, Hawaii, see, they don't talk about Hawaii. See, they just want you to know what you see on TV, the pretty girls dancing, okay, everybody saying aloha. See, they're very much, see, they hear the news and propaganda against black people in the mainland, but they don't have any kinship with you. So when you arrive, in fact, when I first arrived, I found a house. They were renting rooms. I rented a room at the house. And when I arrived, like I was the only black there. The others they were all white men, and they were whites from the mainland. And one of them says to me, "Oh, you know, in the 19 such and such, they chased out all the black people." Well, why the hell I need to hear that? See, because they're mean. See, they were mean. Why do I need to hear that? I guess, see, they are under a program too. And their program is, I don't want you here either, competing for jobs or whatever. And they're jealous also. When you do get ahead, or you do get anything, see, they can prosper, but not you. And so later on in that line, that's when I first arrived at the guest house. I mean, at the house that I rented a room at. And then later on, the jobs, you know, you hear the biases against you. You're treated differently. I was humiliated at one point. This was the first job I had. I loved the job. The owner was fine, but the owner's son worked there. It was a real jackass. I'm not going to mention the name of the place, but it was a leading place there. And see, it shows the hatred that they have towards us. Yeah, the owner was a white American, and he came to the island many years prior, opened up a successful restaurant, and he had his son working there. And they hired what they call locals. The local brown people there, and of course he had white people there. And so they have the people that work there, the cooks, and they're primarily from the Philippines, Philippine ancestry, and they're allowed to take the scraps of food that they use to cook the meals and have the scraps for their lunch. Well, I foolishly took the scraps from some of the baking thing to make something that I could just share out. And the owner's son came to me and said, "Who said you can do that?" And he threw it out. He had me throw it out. He rather me throw out food than me eating any of the or potentially eating any of the food. But he had these uh, Filipinos eating the food for their lunch. And he seemed like kind of scared. That's one thing. The whites seemed to be scared or nervous around the so-called locals. Okay. So here I am, American, and he's American, but there's no love. He treated me like shit. Yes, he did. So where's the love, people, about these immigrants who are treated with more respect than you? They're treated well. And another job, the real bold, this lady was a Hawaiian mix with Puerto Rican. She looks like in my opinion, a light-skinned Puerto Rican. She was one of the worst. She was to train me at a different job that I found, a real racist. See, I don't just say these words because it's popular. But what happened? This is what happened. So I had she was the top of her sales. I got a job in retail, selling jewelry. It was a real fun company, and because I was new, they wanted her to train me. So I was already there for a couple of months, I think. And during that time, I did speak to her over the phone, and she seemed like a really fun person. I was very eager to speak to her in person. Well, when I reported to work one day, she was on duty at the location that I worked at the time. And what happened? So when I walked in, now she's with a customer, a white customer, and she says, "Oh, I don't like you because you're the same color as my sister," something like that. Or "you're dark like my sister," one of those things. And I thought this was humorous. I said, "Did I just hear what she just said?" And then later on, she has her sister-in-law come into the shop and say, "Hey, so-and-so, you like niggers?" Just like that, real loud. And I reported that. I said, I had enough. Then she comes back, "Oh, you mean I hurt your feelings with when she said that?" Are you serious? These people don't have a clue about what's right and wrong. You have people that racism is deep. This girl's kids are darker than me, and she's saying she don't like people, uh, the dark like her sister. See, you have a lot of people who are ashamed of their race, and that unfortunate befalls a lot of people of Puerto Rican ancestry who don't want to embrace their black culture, their black race heritage. So now they're in the state of Hawaii, and but see, they want to promote their Hawaiian blood. So here, Hawaiians are the native Hawaiians are black complexion. Her mother was black in color, and she talked about. But see, she's Hawaiian, so she can play up the Hawaiian. And her daughter is my color, my complexion, I say, but she don't like black people. See that, people? And this is why I encountered. Yeah, and then she lied on me to the others about what happened. But what happened in broad daylight. I had enough. I had enough. And she said also that she would help make money for the other people that worked there, but not me. It didn't include me, just because of my race. These are some of the things that racist Hawaii, you want to think that they are your friend. They're not your friends. So why do I share this? I share this because you have you have a need of establishing community. Community is what's lacking. Whether it's just a handful of you need to work strategic and to help each other out. You need to inform each other when you get information. You need to inform one another when you get information to protect yourself, to advance. They are strategic, Hawaii. They are strategic in not allowing you to excel. However, if you can make them money or marry, see, the women don't mind marrying black if they have money. The same as some of the other ethnic groups there. To marry so they can stay in the country. And they take that money and they send that money back home to their countries. They do not spend it in your community. You are not the bank for any race outside of your own immediate family and community. So when you go in there, don't try to fit in. You come in there with your friends or family or neighbors, whatever, to inform community and protect one another. So that when their attacks happen, you'll be able to better protect yourself, okay? Because see, if they could come in to your country and set up shop and get jobs and hire their own, can't you do the same as an American citizen in America? Why is it that blacks are being prevented to hire blacks? And told if you hire your fellow black that you are discriminating. But yet, you could be Hispanic and hire other Hispanics. You could be Filipino and hire Filipino. You could be Chinese and hire other Chinese. You could be white and hire other whites. Why is it that when you are a black American, you're not supposed to hire black? Am I speaking truth, people? Am I speaking the truth? Well, this happened to me in America. And I said, I had enough. I had enough. And now seeing all these new trends and what they call expats going to Europe or Latin America or the motherland, what they don't tell you is building community. They want you to go to Africa, the motherland, to be a bank, so to speak, or be a welfare service for African people. Why don't they have their shit together? Why don't they have their stuff together? You build the fucking pyramids, you don't need help in someone building you a faucet? Fuck them. Am I speaking truth? Does this make sense to you? Does this make sense? They're in Africa. They never were sent here to America. They're still there in Africa, and they don't know how to build a water faucet or anything, infrastructure. They didn't learn from the Europeans who colonized them. If they haven't, then I question their mental faculties. It is not your responsibility to go to job to build a fucking well for people who can't build their own well, who can't build their own schools. That's why you set up community. And that's why there should be some type of talks out there in Africa that had where the kidnapped people were taken from to send us to the Americas to be slaves. There should be some type of discord about some agreement to be able to repatriate in their native homelands. And it shouldn't be a stipulation they have to build a house. You should live where you can, where you want to live. What if you want an apartment? See again, the analogy about the young girl that got kidnapped when she was 10, raped by her captor for 20 some odd years, and when the police found her, they brought her back. And the mother cherished her. Why aren't they cherishing you? Why? These are very, very important questions, people, that you need to ask. I ask myself constantly questions. I love the idea of living in a place like Africa because I'm tired of the racist bullshit. I'm tired of, hey, people were mentioning about Portugal or Spain, but not all the thing that's happening in Europe, like with Ukraine, and that when the black students there are from Africa, and they did not have the correct passport to enter Poland, they're going to use the race card. Well, I think that what could happen now is kickback, and that anybody that they perceive as being black or African, they can kick out and not allow to enter the country, including Portugal and Spain or any of the European countries. Well, once you have access, that if you have the visa for one EU, you can go and travel to other EU countries. Okay? But I'm just saying, they could really make it hard for you who have money, who want to go to some countries in Europe to live, right? Now you may be looked on questionable because of what happened to the blacks in Ukraine, right? That could happen. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe Africa might be my best bet. But now seeing that some of the Africans there are exploiting, and here a lawyer exploited their kindness, the visitor's kindness, and they're forced back. They're forced back home, back to the U.S. See, a lot of these YouTubers who talk about being expats, they're not explaining the whole story, some of them. Why aren't they telling of, some of them share, but some of them don't say, hey, why were you forced back? What happened? Why didn't they show what's going on inside? They're not telling you the whole story. And that you have to ask yourself questions. You have to ask yourself questions. This one person I'm referring to, I'm not going to give the name, is back in the States. She was away in Brazil for 6 months, but she doesn't explain why she left after 6 months. I know some visas only last for 6 months, but why didn't she say so? If you make a big fanfare that you're leaving bad America, and then you're back in America, hey, why are you here? See that? Because they're not being fully honest. They're not being fully honest. They should come clean. Hey, this is what happened. Hey, it's not what I thought. And that's cool. And that's cool. Yeah. So I know I said a lot. Does anyone have any questions? Let me look at the bottom. I see that a lot of messages came out. Let me see here. Okay, Nubian. You said that's because they were a part of the DS and they were brought down by the military. Okay, prove it. Now they are saying that we should have to prove. Oh, proof of retaking. What is DC? What is the? You mean you mean Washington DC, Nubian? Yeah, I don't know what a DC is. Oh, I'm sorry, you had DS. Yeah, you say. Yeah, you mentioned DC and DS, but I don't know what that's abbreviation for. I'm not sure in the context. Nubian, if you're still here, please explain for the rest of us. Yeah, I have no idea what that means. Yeah, we each one teach one. I do not know the answers. I don't know what I want to do. I don't. I I I live where I live for now 19 years. I have a good deal here. It's just very dangerous. I told you about the assault that I had and how the police officers responded. And you could just look in the news reports in New York City. People are being just crazy people killing us, killing more people, being pushed on the train tracks, being stabbed. They set out. Remember a couple of months, what was that? I think about a year ago, I was told that they released, yeah, over a year ago, um, they released now they didn't specify whether it's New York City or just Manhattan Island, that they released 4,000, um, I'm sorry, yeah, they sent 4,000 people uh, in the home, with something with the homeless, something about 4,000 of them. Now they're on the street. You're going to release 4,000 people on the street? 4,000. They were crazy. Yeah, all these new people that hung out on 8th Avenue, a very dangerous strip. A certain portions of it is very dangerous. And remember, in my early videos that I did about a year ago, a year and a half ago, I would be waking up early, doing my video as I'm walking outside with my dogs in the stroller. It got too dangerous. Yeah. Someone tried to attack me when I was uh, with my stroller, right by where I live. A couple of feet from where I live. I exited the front door and then boom, right there. Yeah. I guess I guess Nubian left. I don't know what she means by DS or DC here, but I speak the truth. There are a lot of people um, are getting excited. It is exciting watching the people, the expats. Some are good. Some channels are good. They interview people, and they're serious minded. And others, it's all a game. It's all a game so they can get numbers and people watching them. They get these young female, the young 20-year-olds acting foolish, like it's a game. It's not a game, people. It costs money to go to a farm, and
They don't have the same rules. You think about the police here are corrupt, where you go to the police overseas. You go to the jails overseas. You don't want that. One of the expats that she does discuss, she was arrested in a Mexican jail. You don't want that, people. Some of the channels are mature minded and they share honestly. Others, they make it think it's a real joke. It's serious when you need a place, a safe place to live. You want to live in safety. And let's say you're getting up there in age, like myself. I'm getting older. I'm getting older. I need to live in safety. I need to be safe when I go outside and walk my dogs. Not having some drug addict jump over the fence to attack me. And that's what almost happened last September. And then in November, I got attacked by a woman, a white lady, who's schizophrenic, according to the police officers. And now you got another lady, about a week ago, another lady, young white-looking lady, pushes to the ground an elderly white woman who died of head injury. Yeah, the person came from behind her at around 8:30 at night, pushed her to the ground, and went off running, killing her. She didn't die right away, but she died later on. Yeah, that's what's here in New York City. I take this thing very serious, people. Where to live in safety. Please be more responsible about your expat videos. Give the information that's necessary. Stop playing games. Don't play games while you're there. See, um, as a black person, as black people, you're always being watched by what you do. When you're overseas, follow the rules. Be respectful and dress appropriately wherever what location you're at. Yes, at the beach, people wear bathing suits, but don't be going wearing a bathing suit in those Arab countries, in the shopping mall. Stop, be respectful. Dress appropriately where you are when you're overseas, because you represent all of us. And we don't want when someone to mess it up for the rest of us. Or use a race card when it's not a race card issue. Use wisdom. And when you get a charlatan, someone try to rip you, let people of the community know. Let people know, hey, this person tried to steal or extort and didn't give back my passport, etc., etc. Hold on to your passports. Don't fall for it, because they can use it to extort money from you, can then sell you, because they sell people in Africa. They can sell you to the highest bidder. Stop your fucking foolishness. Okay? Yeah. Put in a safety deposit box. Okay? And to register whatever foreign country you're in, register at your nearest consulate. If you're American, you go to the American consulate or embassy, American embassy, and you register with them. So in case there's a problem, they can rescue you to get you out of the country so you won't look stupid like those African students, okay? Use wisdom, folks. I can't think of anything else. Yeah, and then Nubian had already left, so I don't know what her abbreviations mean. So I enjoyed doing this video. I hope you enjoyed it well. And those of you who would like to support this content, you can do so by PayPaling me. Uh, my PayPal me link is on my channel, Spirit Journey channel, and on the top right banner of my channel, you see my PayPal me link. Just click on the link and follow the prompts. Any amount would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And I thank you in advance. Okay, and I hope you were able to hear this. Yeah, my other live stream that I did just prior to this one, I had laryngitis. Yeah, I'm getting over some type of cold, something. I had like a nasal infection. My throat got glands got swollen, and yeah. So I'm getting a little better now. Excuse me. And I'm trying to, yeah, I have to drink my water now. And I've been hydrating and just relaxing to rest my body. Okay. I, I thank you for this opportunity to share with you. Yeah, this is a time that, as I mentioned, in a quick recap, I talked about William and Kate, Britain, the former colonies, what do you call it, the commonwealths, one by one, at least Barbados had took away Queen Elizabeth being the head of state. They are now a republic, and some of the other commonwealths are thinking about doing the same thing. And they also put in the issue that they're supposed to apologize for the royal family's enrollment the involvement with the slave trade. I also talked about what else? Yeah, the expats, people visiting different places. I talked about uh, the state of Hawaii, and it's a very racist state against black people. They might like black music, like hip hop. They love reggae. They love the fashions and the videos of the black people, but they don't want you there. They don't mind you vacationing there and spending a lot of money on them, but they do mind you living there and working there. Be selective who you give your money to, and don't go by their looks either. Use wisdom. Use wisdom. Seek wisdom. Pursue it. And spend on yourself and your family and your community. Be community, especially if you're going to do an expat. Come with your community in these new lands because you deserve it. Stop shortchanging yourself and start celebrating yourself. So take care, guys. Thank you for listening and have a great week. Bye bye.